well. How are
All
you this
right.
morning?
Lovely to meet you, Carl. I mean, you were John Parker in one of the greatest movies of all time. I love Buckaroo Banzai. Congratulations for just that was an early part of your career and fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much, Shane. Wow. Yes, it was. It was the early part of my career, and it was what I think of as kind of the crazy part of my career because I had done a film earlier than that called Caveman, which was I thought, well, get this out of the way now because it will never be crazier than this. And and then there was Buckaroo Banzai, which set the bar. Nothing has ever come close to that experience.
Well, it stands the test of time. I love it. And I didn't think you'd be bringing up Bork from Caveman.
I know I can't get rid of any of it, Shane. It all hangs off me like one of those horrible 60s sweaters.
I love it. I love you. It's an honor to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm Charlie Walker. You
Mhm.
played a character, Charlie Walker, in the streets of San
San
Francisco,
Francisco,
didn't you?
yes, yes,
So it's all
yes.
coming back.
That's right. I can't escape it, Shane.
Uh, you're in with a great cast in this movie. How did you get the role and the project? Were you handpicked, or did you do you still audition? I assume that you don't really audition anymore.
Oh no, I do audition. Not always, but I definitely do
Mm,
audition. To tell you the truth, Shane, I prefer to audition because I think that's an opportunity to make a statement for how you see a character and the way in which you understand the text as it was presented to you. And so that
yeah.
sometimes gives you an opportunity to work with the director or the producers in the room in real
Mm,
time as a character does. And so I don't reject the idea of an offer, but I don't mind auditioning at all. So in this
yeah.
particular instance, however, it happened that I was around. It was I was living in the Bay Area and in San Francisco, and this is where the story generated, and it's where it was conceived and shot, and
Yep.
so I was really fortunate to be a part of it in the way that I was. It was not there was a window in some of the other work that I do in Los Angeles, and so I was there at a time when I was open to something tasty, and that's how I saw. That's how I saw the film. You know, it's a quite low budget,
Mm,
um, and so it had to be inventive,
mm,
and it was a joy to work that way because what was
mm.
driving it was how important and how passionate it was for our director Patrick, for the people who wanted to put it together, to honor and to talk about this critical time in San Francisco's history and the kind of hero that Charlie Walker was.
Were you aware of the incident yourself, or had read up on it, or did you just research it for the role?
Um, all of the above. So I was
Okay.
aware of it. I got to San Francisco in 1977, and this had happened in 71. So I was aware that
Yeah.
two Standard Oil tankers had collided and had befouled the beaches. I saw news footage of that sludgy stuff. It's so awful, washing up on a beach and just depositing its tarry mess. That's what
Yeah.
happened to a lot of the lovely beaches in San Francisco, large beaches. And
Right.
at the time, the White Truckers Union was dispatched because there had to be a cleanup and then carry this stuff away. And
Mm,
they did not allow black truckers, and Charlie was a black trucker. There was a black truckers union, but he was not. I think for Charlie that was settling, and the Black Truckers Union wasn't getting that business. Um,
okay.
So he was frustrated, and he, in fact, tried to lead some protests around that. And then the winds shifted, literally, and the tarry mess that had drifted out to some nearby islands now drifted back and ended up affecting smaller beaches. And Charlie was, because it was a small beach, probably because
Yeah.
they didn't have to give as much money. They said, okay, you can have that. And he cleaned it up
Right.
effectively. And so much more so that he became essential to the cleanup effort, and at the same time endeared himself to the element that lived on those beaches, and in that particular area, Bolinas, which was post Love Child, Summer of Love, and
Yeah.
and open to not only um, the idea of a man of color coming forward and getting the opportunity to do this, but also to his style and to his refusal to accept being shut out without protest, without affecting something, and he really wanted to clean up the beach.
Yeah.
He, so he became essential, and then of course the film explores how he paid for that
Yeah.
and how
It's
ultimately he
serious.
survived it. Yeah, he's quite an amazing figure, and Mike Colter does such a beautiful job
Mm.
of portraying him because, of course, he had many sides, and of course, the the courage uh, was not the only thing that he could rely on. He had to, if you're in a dirty game, sometimes you have to play dirty, and
Yeah.
yeah. But
I
it was a joy. It was a joy.
oh it you did a really great job in it. I mean, you always do every time I see you, but
Thank
it's
you.
fascinating because it's a true story about race and
Mhm.
environment issues.
Yes,
So
yes,
it's still so relevant now.
absolutely.
You must be living the character in many ways when you're playing the role.
Yes, and in playing Willie, um, who
Yeah.
is the exact opposite of Charlie, and in fact is, I think of Willie as um, an anachronism. He's stuck back in a time just after the Great Migration from the South. So
Yeah.
in Willie's in his DNA and in his emotional memory, he's seen black bodies hanging from trees. He's had conversations about what happened to Chuck Tillman. Well, he went off a couple of days ago. Nobody's seen him. Um,
Mm.
and then being there when Chuck Tillman's body is brought back. He was drowned in a river and rocks tied around his neck. So Willie has um, this weight in him. And so, because of that, he has fear in him. He's carrying his fear as much as he's carrying these memories. And
Mhm.
so, as much as he admires what Charlie is doing, and as much as he wishes he could be like Charlie, he can't. He's he's afraid, and he's afraid for himself because Charlie is doing what he's doing. He's afraid of the balance shifting. He's afraid of being noticed. He's afraid of
Yeah.
being retaliated against. He's afraid of being identified as someone who is dissatisfied with what's going on because he knows ultimately what can happen. So it was so after having said that, it's bizarre to say it was really fun, um, but it was vital for me because I don't think of myself in that way, and I've been fortunate. I don't have those
Mm.
specific kinds of memories, but the memories that I do have, I think, allow me to feel the privilege of playing someone who was less fortunate than I was.
I mean, I'm not sure how old you are, but are you saying you remember the Summer of Love? Maybe. Yeah.
Um, well, I not as a participant, as a
Oh,
spectator.
good.
As but I'm 73, so
Wow.
I graduated high school 69, university in 73.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, going back into a role that has a period setting, does that also help enhance the character and enhance the acting when you're wearing the costumes and the era around you and the like that must enhance your acting as well
It,
in any true
it,
story.
it definitely does. And in a story like this in San Francisco, which is a setting to this
Yeah.
day, um,
Yeah.
it's great to go back and see the way people made their way in that time. Everything from the fashions to what was becoming allowable, what was becoming popular, what was falling out of favor. And that's what
Mm.
I love about doing roles is that you get to go pick up that history, put it on, and wear it, and not as yourself. I love what I do,
Mm.
and I take I take the work very, very seriously, but I don't take
Mm.
myself as seriously. I mean, I'm serious and I'm committed, but I'm also out there. Um, I can be an away game, and I think that's vital, and maybe that's why I
Yeah.
enjoy doing this work.
Well, another great San Francisco movie you were in was Pacific Heights. That just comes to mind. That's
Oh, yes,
another.
yes, yes.
You,
That
you
was
you seem to have perfected being a detective or a lieutenant in so many movies, like The Bedroom Window. I remember you being a lieutenant in The Bedroom Window.
Yes, yes, that's right. I went through a period, and I think in some ways I can't take credit for it. The industry was such that a lot of the roles that came up I did not wish to do, or I didn't feel myself qualified for in the way that other actors would be. One,
Mm,
because while I was raised in America, being raised by Jamaican parents is a different experience. My sense of street smarts was look both ways before you cross.
mm,
That's as much as I was allowed to know of street life. And in
mm,
fact, one of my father's admonitions, if I ever did anything wrong, and this is from improper grammar to not cleaning up after myself, he would say, the next thing you know, you'll be on the street corner with dice in your hand, playing craps because you lost your way. And so that was, in fact, there were games. What was the game? Uh, there was a game
yeah,
called Yahtzee,
yeah.
and in Yahtzee they had dice. I never played Yahtzee until I was, a mature individual, and I'm sure it had to do with the fact that dice. That's the gateway drug. That's the
Mm,
road to evil. And I was um, in part by choice, but in part by the imperative imposed upon me by the fact that my parents left one of the most beautiful settings and came to a place where they went through something that I don't know that I could go through in terms of confronting racism in America
mm.
in the 50s in a predominantly white state. Um, so I'm aware that I have benefited from that and that I
Yeah.
have responsibility. That's my that's my legacy.
Mm,
So that's what they had to give me was the um, experience of seeing them triumph in the way that they did. Four children, all of us put through schools,
yeah.
homes, um, and imbued with a sense of
Mm.
pride and
Well, before we wrap up,
love.
I was just going to say, you like to extend what you're saying. Have you always thought of you're fascinating. You can jump from an indie project to like a blockbuster and back again, but you have the same enthusiasm. Were you always going to be an actor because you just seem to fit into any role?
No, I was always going to be a writer,
Hmm.
and because I'm a little bit introverted, but I think I'm so happy that this was the way it turned out because it's a it's it's wonderful to have the palette
Hmm.
of this work to do, and then to put my brush away and live my life. So I get it all.
Well, congratulations. I'm Charlie Walker. It was a great indie. I love supporting indie film. Have you
Uh,
ever been to Australia? Have you ever been down under? I'm in Sydney, and it's very
no,
early in the morning.
I've had some opportunities, and I'm thinking about doing a Comic-Con down there. So
Great.
yeah, I do want to see it.
Well, your association with Mike Flanagan has really given you like a later career trajectory. Congratulations on all that. And Carl,
Thank
like
you.
you just to wrap it up, the final words, why should people watch I'm Charlie Walker? I mean, it's an important true story that's relevant, but in your own words, there's so much to choose from to watch these days. Why do you think people should watch it, other than you being in it?
Well, yeah, definitely watch it for Mike Colter.
John Parker is in it. You've got to watch it.
No, I would say watch it for Mike Colter and the way in which he represents the ideas and ideals that America has and is not willing always to give to everyone. So some people take it.
And Dylan Baker, another great actor that you
Oh,
missed.
yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, and the thing was is that because of the budget and the way this was shot, I didn't get to work with or meet everyone. Willie is in and then out. So that was the
Yeah.
joy, seeing the piece as well, and seeing what everyone did. There was again, I go back to Patrick. There was something that Patrick had that he was able to convey. When he started to talk, it filled him, and I think it filled us.
Yeah. Well, Pacific Heights, Buckaroo Banzai, I've have made my bucket list. I'm really stoked I could have a chat to you.
Thank you, Shane. I appreciate that.
And
I,
Bork, you brought up Bork, not me,
I know that's right.
from
I
Caveman.
actually, I probably still have my club. I think so. In one of my storage spaces, I brought it
Well,
back from. We shot that in Mexico, and I brought it back because I needed a constant reminder that I had done this. There is something about the difference between the way I'm viewed and the way I see myself, and Bork comes a little closer to the way I see myself.
well,
Bit of a
not many
caveman.
people can say they worked with one of the Beatles. So there you
That's
go.
that's right. That's right. And that was, oh man, yeah, that was great fun. And in fact, that's that's the project on which Ringo met Barbara.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, I've kept you too long. Thank you so much for your time and all the
absolutely.
best, mate.
Oh, and to you, sir. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye bye.